What's up YouTube, PokePrimer here, primed and ready to deliver you our Week 10 recap for the NPBF. This week, now that we are back in the full swing of things, we're going to have standings, we're going to have kill leaders, we're going to have 11 battles to cover this week. Yes, there was only one forfeit. The Washington Weaver is going to give a forfeit W to, I believe... Who's going to pick up that W? I believe it is the Wellington Whirlwinds. Yes, the Wellington Whirlwinds do get a forfeit W from the Washington Weavers. But besides that, we have 11 battles to cover this week, so I'm not going to keep you guys here too long. We're going to hop right into the action. Let's get to it. The first match we'll be covering tonight is the debuting Kokomo Komoos with Rhydon, Gengar, Mega Gallade, Celesteela, Sigilyph, and Aromatisse taking on the Cleveland Typhlosions with Mismagius, Mega Pinsir, Heliolisk, Hawlucha, Latias, and Lycanroc Dusk. One quick precursor to the matchup. The Gengar was a mistake. When Blair took over, he was doing his free agency transactions, and he traded for Gengar, and it got approved and was put into the document. Before the... at the beginning of the week, the Driftvale Drillburs put in to get Gengar for their team as well. So this is the only week that the Komoos will have Gengar on their team. But that's just wanted to point that out there. But we decided to let him keep it because and it's going to keep any kills and deaths and whatnot that it achieves during the course of this match. So that's just something that we can. I just wanted to put out there. But let's get into it. Celesteela leads against the Mismagius. Celesteela is going to go for the Protect to Scout as the Mismagius goes for a Thunder Wave. Celesteela is going to switch into the Rhydon as Mismagius goes for a Will-O-Wisp here. Very smart to catch the Rhydon on the switch-in. Hex is going to do over half to the Rhydon, putting it in range of another one as the Rhydon sets up rocks. Aromatisse is going to come in here on this Dark Pulse. I don't know why he went for Dark Pulse. But he's going to be able to... He's going to miss a Thunder Wave, actually, on this Aromatisse as it sets up a Light Screen. Thunder Wave is going to actually hit this time, though, as Aromatisse is going to be able to get up a Wish. Hex is going to come out onto this Gengar, who's going to eat it up thanks to the Light Screen. Heliolisk is going to come in here on the potential Shadow Ball. However, this is going to be followed up by a Z move, the Acid Downpour, which is going to knock out this Heliolisk immediately. Lycanroc Dust is going to come in here, though. Put in a lot of pressure and is going to go straight ahead for a Drill Run, which does over half to the regular Gallade, but thanks to the defense boost to his Mega Gallade, it's going to live that next Drill Run and be able to knock off Lycanroc's Choice Scarf. It's going to switch here to try to preserve his Gallade as the Lycanroc also switches, so we see Celesteela come in here as well as Mismagius. Celesteela is going to get paralyzed by that Thunder Wave as it goes for a Leech Seed, so it's definitely going to be a bit of a threat now. It's going to go for Protect to get some more Leech Seed damage onto the Mismagius. Hex is going to come out and do not very much damage, as a Air Slash is going to do a very decent amount to the Mismagius. In the long run, this is just a non-winning matchup, so he's going to have to switch into the Latias as Celesteela goes for a Protect here. It's going to go for another Protect to scout what the Latias is going to go for, but it does in fact just go for a Calm Mind. Very, very smart play. Another Calm Mind comes out here from the Latias as the Celesteela does get fully parried, probably going for a Leech Seed there. Going to Protect this turn, scouting to see what he goes for as he goes for the Thunderbolt. He's going to switch into the Rhydon as the Latias goes for a third Calm Mind. This thing is in here ready to sweep. Psychic's going to come out here and take out the Rhydon. Gengar is going to come in, go for the Destiny Bond. I don't know what this Gengar particularly was. I don't particularly know what the Gengar was. It might have been Scarfed. I don't know for certain. But if not, unless Ethan was not running max speed on his Latias, it would have been a speed tie. So he potentially won a speed tie there, which could have been a big deal, because if the Psychic had gone off before the Destiny Bond, then that would have been an entirely different scenario, obviously, and the Latias potentially could have just sweeped up this game. But thankfully for Blair, he was able to get that Destiny Bond off, and the Gengar is going to pick up another kill on this Latias as it goes down. So Sigilyph come in here against the Lycanroc. Obviously, it's not going to stay in, and we're going to see a Stone Edge come out from the Lycanroc. onto the incoming Celesteela. Celesteela's going to go for Protect here as Lycanroc starts to go for a Crunch. Very, very interesting to see that. We're going to see another Crunch come out here and get the Defense drop on the Celesteela as it gets fully parried, so definitely big deal there. Another Crunch is going to come out here. Probably should have just gone for another Stone Edge. Stone Edge actually probably could have picked up the KO on Celesteela, but Steela's going to be able to pick up the KO onto Lycanroc with an Earthquake. Get that Spadef drop boost as we're going to see the Mega Pinsir come in here. Mega Pinsir is going to obviously Mega Evolve, go for the knockoff, and take out the Celesteela. Into the Sigilyph we go, as it's going to be able to set up a Cosmic Power, showing that it's faster, which means that this is more than likely an Adamant Pinsir. It's going to be able to knock off and get rid of the Flame Orb from the Sigilyph. And a crit knockoff in the following turn definitely mattered to pick up the kill. And that's very unfortunate, but that crit definitely mattered for sure. Will not argue that didn't matter. Definitely mattered to kill that Sigilyph, but he did get lucky there. The Ice Punch is not going to be able to pick up the kill onto the Pinsir, and at this point it's just a matter of him clicking return and taking out this Aromatisse and picking up a 3-0 win for the Cleveland Typhlosions in this week's matchup. The next game we're going to cover is the Peoria Phantoms with their Kangaskhan, Blissey, Blacephalon, Megatetar, Goodra, and Blossom taking on Rennie and the Dialgas. The New York Dialgas with their Talonflame, Heatran, Mamoswine, Samurott, Metagross, and Rotom Fan. So let's hop into this one. Rotom is going to lead against the Blissey and then Volt Switch out immediately. As Kaz is going to start setting up Calm Minds. We're going to see Heatran set up Stealth Rocks here as another Calm Mind happens. And then this turn, a Calm Mind is going to take place. Oh, the Heatran slower. That means he's going for Roar. And into the T-Tar we go. Obviously, this is going to force the Heatran out. Into the Rotom Fan as the T-Tar is going to go for an Earthquake. It's then going to get burned by this Will-O-Wisp as it goes for an Avalanche, predicting some type of offensive move. But it's not going to do a lot. Volt switching out on this T-Tar to get in the Samurott on the Crunch, which is not going to do much thanks to that burn. Knockoff is going to come out predicting a switch as the Tyranitar goes for Avalanche. I'm not 100%, I'm just commentating at this point. I'm not sure what's happening. I'm just kind of confused. I'm confused is the word I will use is confused. Knockoff onto this Blissey, getting rid of its leftovers from the Samurott, as the Samurott's going to get Toxic by Blissey. Toxic comes out from Samurott onto the Blissey as it's going to go for a Soft Boiled, keeping itself at a decent amount of HP. Heatran's going to come in now as the Blissey's going to go for a Calm Mind. So then it's going to go for a Shadow Ball here as it's going to get roared out. The Shadow Ball does no damage to this Heatran whatsoever. As Goodra's now going to be in here, and Goodra's going to go for an Ice Beam as a Will-O-Miss happens, unfortunately. Draco Meteor is going to come out here from the Goodra as well. It's not going to do very much, and the Will-O-Wisp is going to come in and just get some nice chip damage onto this Goodra. He's going to miss a Thunder, which I don't think really matters, to be completely honest, unless it would have gotten a Para. Lava Plume is going to get a little bit more chip damage on this Goodra. This Goodra is just sitting here being chunky. Lava Plumes are going to come out as Ice Beams also come out. This is neither side is doing a lot of damage, but the Heatran's just getting more HP back. Kangaskhan's going to come in here on this Lava Plume, though, and take a very massive chunk of damage. He's going to go into his Rotom, predicting the Z move, and it turns out it is, in fact, the all-out pummeling Z move. So he's going to go for a Drain Punch on the Rotom, just get a little bit of HP back, I guess, as he's going to get burned by that Will-O-Wisp. We're going to see Power Up Punch here from the Kangaskhan and trying to get himself out of range of where that burn will matter. But he's gonna get hit with that Air Slash, going to bring him down really low, and then one more Air Slash will take him out. Blissey's going to come in here, once again, revealing that it is not a natural Cure Blissey. It is more than likely Serene Grace, if anything. Going to fire off a Shadow Ball as the Metagross comes in, and Metagross is going to be able to pick it off with a Meteor Mash. Blacephalon comes in, obviously threatening out the Metagross. It's going to go straight for a Shadow Ball, which is going to hit the incoming Heatran and get the Spadef drop, Very, very big deal with that Spadef drop, because it's going to do a massive chunk of damage to the Heatran as it's going to roar it out into the Blossom. Blossom is going to just kind of go for moves here for a couple turns. We see the Giga Drain come out. Lava Plume is going to knock it down really, really low. Pick up the burn as well. And we're going to see Moonblast come out from the Blossom as well. But it's going to die to this Lava Plume here. So that's definitely one more kill for that Heatran. Blacephalon's going to come in here and pick off the Heatran with a Shadow Ball and get that nice clean Beast Boost. Samurot's going to come in here, and Shadow Ball is just going to barely miss out on the KO, as the Scald is going to be able to pick off the Blacephalon. Gudra's going to come in here and go for an Ice Beam and pick up the kill onto the Samurott. As Ice Beam into the Metagross is going to do a little bit of damage, but not much. And the Meteor Mash is going to pick off the Gudra. Now, these next series of plays took me a little bit to understand, but we see the crunch from the T-Tar as the Talonflame switches in. And basically, the Talonflame is just going to click Swords Dance a bunch. Iron Head from the T-Tar. Another Swords Dance. Crunch from T-Tar. Sandstorm damage. So he's basically just sacking the Talonflame. Mostly should probably due to the fact that differential doesn't really affect anything in this league. And he's going to go into the Metagross. Wanted to make sure that, I guess, that he was guaranteed in range of Bullet Punch. So he didn't want to take any chances for crits and whatnot for his Metagross. So he wanted to make sure that he was in range for the Bullet Punch, which was smart play on his part. And the Dialgas are going to pick up a big 3-0 victory here in Week 10. The next game we'll be covering is the Meowston Rockets with their Incineroar, Chestnut, Jellicent, Regigigas, Quagsire, and Mega Aggron, taking on the Port Elizabeth Politoads with their Donphan, Mega Beedrill, Zygarde, Haunter, Kecleon, and Electro. So let's go right into it. We see the Bee lead against the Aggron. Both are going to Mega Evolve, and Bee is just going to U-turn out of here into the Zygarde on this Aggron as Aggron sets up its Stealth Rocks. Zygarde's going to go for a substitute, but the Avalanche is going to be able to break that sub, so very, very good prep on the Rockets' part as the Donphan's going to come in here and take a Toxic. Again, another really good play by the Rockets. Rapid Spin's going to come out to get rid of the rocks, but due to the fact that he caused damage, he's going to take that double damage from the Avalanche, but it does put him in range of eating his Aguav Berry. He's going to hit him up with an Earthquake this following turn as the rocks go back up on the field. Jellicent's going to come in here, and as he goes for another Earthquake, very, very smart to go for a second Earthquake there, predicting the switch. Very, very smart. But we're going to see the Electros come in here on this Hex from the Jellicent. Toxic's going to hit this Electros here, who's going to knock off the Jellicent's leftovers and get disabled, but he's going to be, after this Pain Split, he's still going to be able to get off a Volt Switch and kill off the Jellicent. So we're going to see this Kecleon here go for a Fake Out onto Quagsire and do a little bit of damage, a little tiny chunk, nothing too much. And we're going to see a Donphan sack here to this Scald. So Donphan's going to go down as Haunter then comes in to threaten this this monster. And we're going to see a Giga Drain come out, so the Giga Drain is revealed, and the Haunter is then revealed to be Life Orbed. So Zygarde's going to come in here onto the Incineroar, as the Incineroar just goes straight for a Darkest Lariat. We see the Dragon Dance from the Zygarde as a Malicious Moonsault comes out, and is going to be able to knock out the Zygarde. If he had just gone straight for 1,000 arrows or something along those lines, I think this could have been a very, very different game. But the Malicious Moonsault is able to pick off the Zygarde, unfortunately. Kecleon's going to come in here, and we're going to see it go for a Fake Out as the Chestnut comes in. Chestnut is going to eat that up. We see a Shadow Sneak from the Kecleon to avoid a potential fighting move, but the Chestnut goes for a Bulk Up here. Haunter's going to come in on the Chestnut as it sets up a second Bulk Up. And in order to scout now, the Chestnut's going to go for a Spiky Shield. As we see the Sludge Wave come out from the Haunter, so obviously he's going to switch into his Aggron here does not want to take that Sludge Wave, but the Aggron is going to drop to the following Shadow Ball. So very, very cool here. Again, we see Incineroar come in here against the Haunter and force it out. I don't know if he thought he was if he thought it was scarfed or something, but he might have thought that the Incineroar was indeed scarfed. But obviously, but at the same time, it was also Z. But we see the Kecleon come in here and get the Drain Punch off on the incoming Regigigas. It does lose its Assault Vest here to the Regigigas, but a following Drain Punch is going to be able to pick up the KO. So very, very awesome that the Kecleon's putting in work. We see the Intimidate come out from the Incineroar as it's going to go for the Fake Out and chip down that Kecleon just a little bit further. And yeah, we're going to see a Drain Punch into this Quagsire, who's going to go for a Scald on the incoming Beedrill switch in. Beedrill's going to try to set up a Swords Dance as the Quagsire recovers. Beedrill's going to go for a knockoff, and it's going to do very little damage due to the Quagsire being unaware, and it's going to just be able to pick it off with an Earthquake. We see the Haunter come in here as the Chestnut is going to switch in, predicting the Giga Drain, but it's going to die to that immediate Sludge Wave. Incineroar is going to come in here again, and I think he probably should have just gone straight for the At this point, the Incineroar has been left alive way longer than it should have. I think, in my personal opinion, it was left alive way longer than it should have ever been. We're going to see the Drain Punches come through here onto the Quagsire. It's just going to be a couple turns like that, but the Haunter is going to have to come in here on a Toxic, go for a Sludge Wave, get a little bit more chip damage onto the Quagsire. He got played a little bit here, so he went for the Sludge Wave, predicting the Incineroar to come in, and if the Incineroar had come in, he won that game. Guaranteed he won that game if the Incineroar came in on the Sludge Wave. However, Quagsire stayed in and went for the Recover, and got got lucky that he made that prediction, and he's able to recover and then switch his Incineroar in on the next turn when he goes for the Giga Drain. So at this point, it's just a matter of time. The Dark Slayer is going to knock out the incoming Kecleon, and then at this point, Haunter is going to have to just try and hope and pray that Sludge Wave kills, and it just does not pick up the kill. And Dark Slayer is going to knock out the Haunter, with the Rockets picking up a 2-0 win this week. The next game we're going to cover this week is the Atlanta Dragonites, bringing the Tapu Koko, Mega Latios, Seismitoad, Haxorus, Meloetta, and Stakataka against the Asian Pacific Pilot Swines, coached by Kieran, with the Tornadus, Magneton, Kyurem, Mega Venusaur, Scizor, and the Suicune. Let's see how this matchup goes. So we see Seismitoad lead here against the Magneton. Seismitoad's going to go for Rocks, predicting the Venusaur switch, and then he's going to switch into his Haxorus, which does not take this incoming Sludge Bomb very well at all. So he's going to have to switch into the Stakataka, which is immune to that Sludge Bomb. And then he's going to take a Giga Drain, and he's going to set up a Trick Room, go for a Gyro Ball, which does almost half, and the Giga Drain is going to come out again from Venusaur. Stakataka does not win this battle 100%, so we're going to see the Gyro Ball come out onto the Scizor, not doing too much damage. Earthquake doesn't do a lot either, as the Scizor is able to set up an SD. So, couple SDs, couple things here and there. It's going to be just a back and forth several turns as the knockoff comes out as well onto the Stakataka, and we're just going to see several turns of just roosting and SDing, just keeping itself alive until it decides to finally knock out the Stakataka. So now he's sitting at +4, and then this +4 Bullet Punch is going to be able to pick up the kill on top of Koko. Latios is going to come in here, Mega Evolve, and go eat this Bullet Punch up and go for a Psychic, knocking him down significantly low. He's going to switch into his Meloetta here, sacking it off essentially to get the Life Orb hit. And then he's going to go into his Seismitoad and go for a Drain Punch, as the Scizor essentially had to try to go for a Roost there. So Seismitoad's going to be able to pick up that kill and stop the Scizor from sweeping. Skull's going to come out onto this Mega Venusaur, and I don't know why. He's also going to stay in on a Giga Drain, and I don't know why. But that's a thing that happened. He's going to go into his Haxorus here, though, and he's going to go for the immediate Z move with the Devastating Drake. Get a crit as well, but not pick up the KO. Sludge Bomb is going to be able to knock out the Haxorus, and you would think at this point this is going to be GG. Mega Latios is going to come in here. It's at 28%. He's able to go for the Psychic, KO him. Thunderbolt, however, misses on the KO. I don't know why he didn't go for something like Flash Cannon. But we're going to see the Latios get the recover up and then set up a Calm Mind, ladies and gentlemen. Calm Mind, Mega Latios is here and ready to go. Suicune's going to start setting up Calm Minds as well as the Latios is going to be able to get a recover up. And now it's just going to be a Calm Mind war between these two beasts, these two monsters. Scald comes out from the Suicune as the Latios goes for Psychic. It does a significantly bigger chunk of damage. Kyurem's going to come in here as probably the only thing that could possibly save him at this point. He goes for a Draco Meteor. And mind you, that's at +3 special defense. That is a Specs Kyurem if I've ever seen one. But it is going to drop to that Psychic. And now we're at 20% superpower due to... He went for the superpower, I'm sure, mostly just due to the fact that he has no defensive boosts. However, superpower is going to miss out on the KO as the Latios is going to be able to recover up all that damage. He goes for the taunt here as he tries to go for a second Calm Mind. Hurricane comes out. He gets the confusion on the Latios, so very, very big, but the Latios is going to break through and get the Psychic off and kill the Torn. Magneton's going to come in here, go for a Flash Cannon here, not be able to get enough damage. He snaps out of confusion entirely and going to be able to kill the Magneton. At this point, it's just Suicune versus Latios, and Latios is obviously going to eat this Scald like it's nothing. Go for the recover. Just make sure that no crit nonsense can happen. And a second Scald is going to do a little chunk, but not enough, and Psychic is going to pick up the kill. And the Dragonites pick up a massive reverse sweep with Mega Latios. Crazy, crazy game there. Definitely thought the Dragonites had lost 100%, but Mega Latios is just too good, and he's going to be able to pick up a very big 1-0 victory here over the Piloswines here in Week 10. Alrighty, the next game we're going to cover is the Orlando Magikarps, coached by Jay, bringing the X-Cloud, Malamar, Mega Medicham, Gliscor, Regirock, and Magearna against James and the Memphis Bravebirds with the Tornadus Therian, Escavalier, Greninja, Torrent Greninja, Alolan Persian, Mega Diancie, and the Gothitelle. I kind of got to give my voice a little bit of a break from going as fast as I've had to go on the last few, so I'm going to leave this one on slow. So we're gonna let that happen. So we're gonna see the Tornadus here lead against a Malamar. Malamar is going to go for a superpower, revealing that it is in fact Choice Scarfed, as the Tornadus is going to U-turn out and knock him down extremely low. That Life Orb U-turn is going to put him down in range of just about anything. And now the Gothitelle comes in and traps this thing. Superpower is not going to do very much damage, and a Thunderbolt is going to be able to KO the Malamar here. So very big for Gothitelle to pick up that kill there. We see the X-Cloud here come in on the Gothitelle, and X-Cloud is just going to go straight for a Boom Burst. Definitely could have easily gone into a Escavalier there. Didn't need to sack the Gothitelle, but that's whatever. I'm not salty about that. But he's gonna go into the Escavalier now and knock off this X-Cloud's Choice Specs. Now it's going to continue to go for Boom Burst anyway, as the Mega Horn is going to be able to take out the X-Cloud. So, big kill there for the Escavalier. Escavalier is now going to go straight for a knockoff as the Gliscor sets up an SD, and this is going to allow him to get rid of that Toxic Orb from the Gliscor, so no poison heal on this thing. Facade's going to do no damage due to the fact that he's not poisoned, and Iron Head's going to knock that Gliscor down extremely low. Diancie's going to come in here on this Gliscor predicting a Facade, but no, he goes for Earthquake this turn, and that's going to knock out the Diancie immediately, which really sucks. But Greninja's going to be able to come in here and pick off the Gliscor with a Dark Pulse. The Medicham is going to come in here, and Greninja's actually going to reveal the Protect here. Reveals the Protect here as the Medicham goes for a Fake Out. So very, very smart play on his part, as he's going to be able to then go for a Black Hole Eclipse onto this Mega Medicham, completely decimating it, knocking it out immediately, which is a fantastic play. We see the Magearna come in here as the Greninja is going to U-turn out on it, not taking any chances, as he goes into the Escavalier, as the Magearna goes for its Z-move, the Twinkle Tackle, pushing that Escavalier off the screen. Flash Cannon comes out, and it's not going to be able to kill the Escavalier, and it's going to be able to get off a big drill run onto this Magearna, which is just so bulky. Greninja's going to come in here, though, as the Magearna actually goes for an Aura Sphere. Very, very nice play. We see the Hydro Pump miss out on the KO on the Magearna just a little bit, and Aura Sphere is going to be able to pick up the kill on Greninja, but it's so low at this point that that Soul Heart boost is not going to matter. We see the Persian come in here and go straight ahead for a knockoff onto the Magearna. Rhyperior is going to come in here as the Persian's going to go for a parting shot onto the Rhyperior, getting itself out of there, lowering its stats, and he's going to essentially sack off the Escavalier to this Earthquake so that he can go into his Tornadus here. He's going to go into Tornadus. He's going to knock off the Rhyperior, getting rid of a damage-reducing barrier or something like that. In this case, an Assault Vest. He's going to take an Avalanche, chew that thing up. Then he's going to proceed to U-turn out here. Very smart to preserve his Tornadus. U-turn out into his Alolan Persian. And Persian's going to swallow that Avalanche like it was nothing. And at this point, Persian just has to go for these hidden powers. I believe they're hidden power ice, more than likely for the Gliscor. And he's going to be able to two-shot the Rhyperior from this range and pick up a solid 2-0 victory over the Orlando Magikarp. So very, very solid game here. And the Brave Birds are still sitting on a nice 7-win streak here now, which is awesome. But on to the next one. Next up, we have a massively important divisional matchup here between Jesse and the Ohio Castforms and Corey and the Driftvale Drillburs. The Drillburs currently ranked right below the Castforms in their division. A win here by the Drillburs would tie their records and put them both into the same contention for the number 1 seed in their division as well. So very, very interesting to see this matchup here. Let's see how it goes. We see the Drillburs with the Rotom Heat, Ribombee, Primarina, Gengar, Kartana, and Mega Aerodactyl, while the Castforms have the Latios, the Doublade, the Comfey, the Mega Camerupt, the Kofagrigus, and the Uxie. So let's hop into this game and see what happens. We see Kofagrigus here lead off against this Kartana. Kartana's going to immediately go turn 1 for his Z move. It's going to be a Black Hole Eclipse, and that Kofag lives on 1% and is able to burn the Kartana. That is huge. I don't know what the calc is on that. I don't know at all, but if that was a roll, that was an absolute bullshit roll for him to get. That really does suck a lot. Having a burn Kartana is extremely neutering against this team, where it could have potentially just sweeped here turn 1 with that. So we're going to see a Trick Room come out from this Uxie, as it's then going to switch into the Doublade, but take a Shadow Ball on the incoming switch. Gyro Ball is going to do a decent chunk to this Primarina, but Shadow Ball is going to be able to knock out that Doublade, which is really, really cool to see. Nice prediction by the Drillburs. Comfey's going to come in as a Hyper Voice is going to come out. That Liquid Voice, Hyper Voice, as Comfey's going to then set up a Leech Seed, getting that nice constant chip damage and recovery as well. Comfey is then going to set up a Calm Mind as the Kartana is going to come in on the last turn of Trick Room. Even burned, Kartana is obviously still a massive threat. It's going to go for a Smart Strike and do a really, really decent chunk to this Comfey, which is absolutely insane that it does that much damage. Even still while being burned, that's really crazy. So Comfey's going to go for Sweet Kiss, and if I read correctly in the chat, that was a prep mistake on the part of Jesse. He obviously meant to have Draining Kiss, but he made the mistake of putting Sweet Kiss for some reason. But Smart Strike is going to be able to knock that Comfey down pretty low, and he's going to get the Sweet Kiss off onto the Kartana, confuse him, and he's going to actually hit himself in confusion, which is really unfortunate. So I guess it's a prep mistake that it worked out in his favor. But we're going to see the Smart Strike pick up the kill here on the Comfey on the following turn anyway. So now we get that attack boost on Kartana, and Kartana is actually looking like he's a little bit more of a threat now. Except that Mega Camera was going to come in here, and obviously it's just going to Mega Evolve, go straight for an Eruption since we're on the last turn of Trick Room. He's going to have to sack his Kartana, which I think is a smart play to sack the cart at that point. We're going to see the Trick Room end here as the Primarina comes in and is going to be definitely putting in some pressure. We're going to see the Liquid Voice, Hyper Voice once again onto the incoming Uxie. Uxie's going to go for Magic Coat. I feel like that was probably meant to be Mirror Coat, perhaps. As we're going to see the Shadow Ball come out, get the Spadef drop, and then the following Shadow Ball is going to be able to pick up the kill onto that Uxie. Latios comes in here, as we're going to see the Rotom come in on this Latios' Energy Ball. Rotom's going to take this Psychic like a champion, as it's going to be able to set up its Light Screen, which is going to be very important in this matchup. As we're going to see the Rotom drop here to another Psychic, and we're going to see Gengar come in. Gengar's going to go for an Icy Wind, slowing down that Latios, and we're going to see the Psychic come out, not knock the Gengar out, and it's going to get Curse Bodied, so no Psychic for that Lottie. And now he's slower, so we're going to see the Camerupt have to come in here, and we're going to see an Icy Wind miss from the Gengar, unfortunately. Rabombi's going to have to come in here and get knocked down to its Sash by this Eruption from the Camerupt. But he's going to go ahead and hit them with that nice Moonblast, weaken that Eruption just a little bit, as he's now going to be able to sack the Rabombi and go into his Mega Aerodactyl. And Mega Aerodactyl is going to be able to just Mega Evolve here, go for the Aqua Tail, and knock out the Camerupt, as well as being able to go for the Pursuit and knock out the Latios. So picking up a very, very huge divisional victory, making the race in their division so much more, so much closer and so much crazier. So big win for the Drillbers here in Week 10. The next game we're going to cover is going to be the London Ludicolo, coached by Kieran, with their Tauros, Kricketune, Manectric, Mega Garchomp, Gyarados, and Mimikyu, taking on Macaulay and the Carolina Persians with their Meltank, Milotic, Electivire, Tyranitar, Mega Lopunny, and Gardevoir. So let's go ahead, drop this on slow, and see what this match has in store for us. We're going to see Meltank here lead against the Kricketune. Kricketune going to go ahead and get blocked here by this Meltank. Probably send him too many nudes in the DMs. But we're going to set up the sticky webs here as the Meltank's going to go for Curse. And we're going to essentially see a turn of events here where Leech Life and Toxic is going to be the thing here for the Kricketune, as the Meltank's going to set up Curses. But then it's going to be able to go for a Rest here. And what that's going to do is obviously cure the Toxic. I guess Kieran didn't fully understand that the Rest got rid of the Toxic and whatnot. He wasn't sure. I guess when he read the description, he was just like, "Oh, it just goes to sleep." But obviously, because of the fact that it's going to sleep, sleep is replacing the status condition that it already has. So that's the reason why it does that, Kieran, if you're watching. So this thing's just going to keep cursing up and get Toxic here, as eventually the Meltank is going to go ahead and go for a, I believe it's this turn right here, where he goes for a Body Slam onto the Kricketune and knocking it down to its Sash. Thankfully not getting the para for Kieran here. We're going to see the Endeavor come out from the Kricketune, as the Meltank is going to go for a Rest here, bringing itself back up to full. But Kieran is now in a good position, as he's going to be able to knock the Meltank down into a range where his Leech Life is going to be able to pick up the kill. And this Cursed Meltank was no match for his Sash Endeavor Kricketune. We're going to see Lopunny come in here, Mega Evolve, and it's going to be able to pick off this Kricketune with a Fake Out. But those sticky webs are definitely here to stay, and this is going to be a massive, massive issue for Macaulay going forward. We see Mimikyu come in here and go for the Drain Punch, as a return is going to be able to break the disguise of the Mimikyu. However, Mimikyu is going to be able to follow this up with a second Drain Punch and knock out the Lopunny. Definitely, I believe he should have gone for the stab play rough there, but that's just me. Electivire is going to come in here. We're going to see the switch into the Garchomp, as the Electivire actually goes for an Iron Tail and misses. So definite nice prep there by the Electivire. We see Gardevoir come in here and trace the Rough Skin on this Garchomp, as the Garchomp's going to Mega Evolve and go for a Dragon Claw. So no damage done here as well. So kind of a trade of turns there. We're going to see Manectric come in here on a Moonblast and take a massive chunk of damage. And the Manectric is going to go for a Switcheroo. So Switcheroo is going to switch the Choice Scarf that the Manectric has with the Choice Scarf that the Gardevoir had. So pretty much a wasted turn as he's going to lose his Manectric there. Mimikyu is going to come in here and go for a Shadow Sneak on this Gardevoir, doing a massive chunk of damage, but he's going to take that rough skin damage as well. He's going to take a Moonblast, and he's going to be able to Shadow Sneak once again and pick off that Gardevoir. So Mimikyu picking up 2 kills so far this week, putting in some serious work. So we're going to see the Milotic come in here and get that competitive boost, which is really, really scary. So we're going to see Tauros come in here onto the incoming Scald, as it's going to get scalded and burned and knocked down really, really low. So this Tauros is basically useless, and we're going to see the Tauros here go for a Wild Charge, as the Tyranitar is going to come in here. Tauros is going to die to its own recoil, so nobody on Macaulay's team is going to get a kill there. Tauros just gets a death, so it's very interesting to note. Mimikyu is going to come in against the T-Tar, as obviously Drain Punch is the move that it's going to want to go for, as that is what it does. It goes for a Drain Punch on the incoming Milotic. As we're now going to see, a very bold play. The Garchomp is going to come in here on this Milotic as it goes for a Recover, and for some reason, this is confusing to me. We're going to see this Milotic switch out from this Garchomp into the Tyranitar, as Garchomp's going to go for a Swords Dance. And that is GG, ladies and gentlemen. Swords Dance Mega Garchomp plus these sticky webs is going to be able to tear through the T-Tar, tear through the Milotic, and tear through the Electivire. And that is going to be a big 3-0 win for Kieran and the London Ludicolo. GG to him. He seems to be kind of getting his stride a little bit here. He's kind of starting to really pick up on a few things, although he definitely still has some learning to do, but everyone does sometimes. So GG to him, picking up a very big win here, Week 10. Keeping himself away from that last place spot, so, and a big underdog victory there for him for sure. The next game to cover is going to be my game against the Philadelphia Braviaries. I decided to bring my Bronzong, Florges, Rotom. Fucking go away, Avast. This is not your time. Rotom Wash, Cryogonal, Roserade, Weavile, and then we see the Politoed, Toxapex, Basculin, Gastrodon, Omastar, and Mega Slowbro on the side of the Braviaries. We're going to switch sides for this one because it's my team. We got to switch sides, and we're going to go a little bit faster because this is my team. So we're going to take a Zen Headbutt turn 1, eat our Payapa Berry from this Basculin, and we're going to be able to put it to sleep with our Sleep Powder. We're going to go straight ahead for a Giga Drain as the Toxapex comes in here, so that's all good. And we're going to see a series of turns where we just kind of spam Extra Sensory, as Scalds are going to come out as he's going to recover a little bit. We're just going to keep this situation going on. We're going to see the Slowbro come in here and go and take an Extra Sensory. We get the Giga Drain off on the Slowbro, get back up to full as the Thunder Wave comes out. Now, this turn was very unfortunate. The full para happens, and obviously the Slowbro is going to be able to pick up the kill. We did obviously still outspeed, which would have been really nice to just pick off the Slowbro right there, but he does get a kill there, which really, really sucks. But we're gonna see Rosary dies, and we're going to be able to go into our Cryogonal, go for a Freeze Dry, and KO the Slowbro. So at this point, we're Choice Specs. We're going to just go for Freeze Dries again against this Politoed. Picking up some big damage, just freeze drying and tearing through him, which is really awesome. And then we're going to see this Omastar come in here. I forgot that it was Swift Sim, so it does go for the Rock Slide, but we don't flinch. We're going to live, and we're going to be able to pick him off with a Freeze Dry, as we do die to the Toxic from that Politoed. So Rotom's going to come in here and Volt Switch out on this Toxapex. Obviously, he's just going to do that. And we're going to dodge that Toxic because we are immune. He's going to go for a Scald here in the rain, and we're actually going to pick up the Burn, which really sucks because Zen Headbutt would have done double that damage, and we would have been in a very good position against this Toxapex. But we're just going to essentially, like, we're gonna spam Zen Headbutt against Toxapex at that point, see what happens. He's going to stay asleep here as we're going to actually get up our Stealth Rocks on this Basculin. And then we're going to switch into our Rotom Wash. as this Basculin stays asleep for another 2 turns. Very fortunate for me, as I'm going to be able to Volt Switch out with my Rotom into my Weavile as he goes into Toxapex, thinking he might be safe. But oh no, we have the Tectonic Rage available, and we're just going to knock out that Toxapex. Essentially, this is going to just be a little bit of, we're going to have to play this right. We're going to knock off the leftovers from this Gastrodon, and then we're going to go into our Rotom. We're going to Toxic the Gastro because don't want to take the chance of it like being able to live and stall me out of my hidden powers. So we're going to Hidden Power Grass there. It's going to do a decent amount of damage, and we're going to eat a Scald, and then 1 more HP Grass is going to pick up the 4-0 win for us against the pick up that nice 4-0 win against the Philadelphia Braviaries here in Week 10. The next game we have going for us here is going to be the Phoenix Infernos, coached by Chris, with their Drapion, Cobalion, Rotom, Mo, the Umbreon, the Salamence, and the Alolan Ninetales against the regular Ninetales, Garchomp, Bouffalant, Mega Swampert, Whimsicott, and Venusaur of the Birmingham Entei over here, coached by Logan. Let's get into the game. After I take a sip of water. We see the dueling lead of Ninetales versus Ninetales. The Sun's going to take priority due to speed stats, and we're going to see this Ninetales go for Roar as Umbreon comes in, setting up the Hail with the Alolan Ninetales, as Umbreon's going to once again come in and get roared out again. Rotom Mo is now in, and obviously we have to have another switch here, as the Umbreon's going to come in here on this Flamethrower and get burned, unfortunately. That's going to really, really suck to mitigate those leftovers. As Umbreon's gonna then go for a Toxic, as the Ninetales is going to roar it out into the Alolan Ninetales, as Umbreon's going to come back in, as Swampert comes in here on the Rotom. Rotom Mo is going to switch out, as well as the Ninetales comes back in. The nice double back into Ninetales. A triple switch into Venusaur as the Umbreon comes back in. Umbreon's going to switch into Drapion as the growth goes up. Sludge Bomb is going to happen onto this Drapion, who does take the hit and is able to knock off that Venusaur's Life Orb. However, obviously, with the +2, the Giga Drain is still going to be able to pick up a kill on that Drapion. Alolan Ninetales is going to force out the Venusaur and get a little chip damage on this Ninetales with this Freeze Dry, as well as that little bit of toxic damage. Umbreon is going to come in here on a Pain Split from the Ninetales, as it's then going to take a Flamethrower, setting up a Wish for itself, which is a very, very smart play. Keep himself nice and healthy. Going to go for the Protect there, as the Solar Beam comes out from the Ninetales. So he's going to be able to get all that HP back real quick, as the Ninetales is whittled down very low. So he's going to switch into the Venusaur here onto the Umbreon, as the Umbreon is now going to switch hard into the Ninetales, as the Venusaur goes for growth. And now it's going to have to be sacked off to this Ninetales with the Freeze Dry, because he realistically does not have a switch into it at this point. So the Bouffalant's going to come in here, forcing in the Cobalion as it goes for a Swords Dance. Cobalion does force it out, as it's going to go immediately for its Z-move on the incoming Garchomp, hitting him with it all out pummeling and seeing he's probably more of an offensive build. Garchomp is going to go for an Earthquake as the Rotom comes in on that, and we're going to see that the Garchomp is not Scarfed as it goes for a Dragon Claw, as the Rotom, predicting probably that he was Scarfed, goes for a Volt Switch. Dragon Claw is going to come out here and do a little bit more damage, as the Leaf Storm is going to knock out the Garchomp. Ninetales is going to come in here on the Rotom and then switch immediately out into the Bouffalont, as the Umbreon is going to come in. So he's going to double back. The Enteis make a lot of really aggressive double switches. Cobalion is going to come in here onto this Bouffalont, sets up a Swords Dance again, and just go straight for the close combat, as the Swampert is going to come into this match. Alolan Ninetales is going to come in here on the Swampert, who's actually going to reveal to be special, as it's going to go for an Earth Power. Freeze Dry is going to then come out from this Ninetales and is going to chip this Ninetales down into range for the earlier Toxic from Umbreon to pick up the kill. Psychic from the Whimsicott is going to come out onto this Ninetales, as Ninetales is going to get off a Toxic. Making a nice prediction, the Whimsicott's going to go for a Moonblast on the Umbreon switch-in. Umbreon is going to go for a Protect here, get a little bit of extra Toxic chip damage on him as well. Then we're going to see the Rotom-Mow get sacked to this Moonblast. So we get some more Toxic chip damage as Umbreon's going to come in and go for one more Protect, stalling this Whimsicott down into range where it's guaranteed to die next turn. Umbreon really can't do much else here, so Umbreon's going to get sacked as the Cotton Ball, the Whimsicott's going to go down. We're going to see the Intimidate from the Salamence here as it's going to set up a Dragon Dance on this Mega Swampert, who just goes for a Toxic. Dragon Claw is going to be able to pick up the kill on the Swampert here, as it's then going to be able to 2-hit KO this Bouffalant, who just goes for a Swords Dance. I guess trying to make that nice that last Hail Mary play to potentially, hopefully, pick up a reverse sweep, but it's not gonna pan out, and we're going to see the Phoenix Infernos picking up a big 3-0 win over the Birmingham Intes here in Week 10. The next match we're going to cover is the still undefeated Jerusalem Girantes, coached by Gavino, with their Chansey, Lando T, Typhlosion, Mega Gyarados, Galvantula, and Dusclops, against the Johto Brave Knights, coached by LJ, with their Tapu Bulu, Slaking, Rampardos, Machamp, Zygarde 10%, and Mega Latias. So, let's get into the game. We see Galvantula here lead against Machamp. He's going to be able to easily set up the Sticky Webs, as we're going to see a knockoff here. Bug Buzz is going to be chewed by the Machamp, as it's going to be able to knock it out with a Mega Kick of all things. Very interesting to see that. Eruption is going to come out here and be chewed by the Machamp, as it's going to knock off the Typhlosion's Choice Specs. And this allows the Typhlosion to kill the Machamp with an extra sensory. We're going to see HP Grass come out onto this Rampardos, but the Rampardos is going to live and knock out the Typhlosion with a Rock Slide. So we're going to see the Mega Gyarados come out here and just go ahead for a Dragon Dance, as the Rampardos goes for the Superpower. And look at that damage, dude. That is insane damage. Holy crap. Just think, if he did not have that Intimidate drop, that would have been a dead Gyarados right there immediately. That is absolutely wild to see that. So, we're going to see the Waterfall come out here. He has to end this Rampardos now before it does any more damage. We're going to see Zygarde come in here, potentially threatening the Extreme Speed. We're going to see him go for the 1,000 Arrows on the predicted switch, getting a crit on the incoming Landers, smacking him down. We're going to see this Lando is indeed Scarfed, as we're going to see it get rid of the Focus Sash, but the 1,000 Arrows is going to knock it out. Now, Dusclops is going to do what Dusclops has been doing all season, going for Nightshades and picking up kills. Slaking is going to come in here and go for a Sucker Punch, but it's not going to work, as the Dusclops is just going to go for the burn, and we're just going to see a series of turns here. We're actually going to see the Gyarados come in here on the Slaking as it is loafing around. We're going to see an Iron Head trying to get maybe a flinch, but with Giga Impact is going to knock out the Gyarados. And now it's Dusclops and Chansey versus the world. Chansey's going to go for a Seismic Toss here, trying to get some more damage off onto this thing, as the Dusclops is going to be able to come in here and threaten this Slaking here. So now we're going to see some loafing around. We're just going to... He's basically just burn stalling him at this point, which is insane. So we're going to see the Slaking eventually go down to the burn. We're going to see a burn onto the Tapu Bulu as it gets up a Swords Dance. Gets up a second Swords Dance, and we're going to see the Haze from Dusclops. So that's going to be huge. And it's literally just a battle, a war of attrition between Dusclops and Tapu Bulu. We're going to see that Gloom Doom not do a lot of damage here, as the Nightshade is going to do a decent chunk. And it's going to be a matter of Synthesis versus Synthesis and Horn Leech versus Nightshade and the Will-O-Wisp, and a potential obviously, and then we're going to see the Pain Split there, also revealed by the Dusclops. So we're just going to see a constant war of attrition. We're going to see Swords Dance go up, and without the terrain, the Horn Leech is not going to do a lot. And Bulu's just going to be down in too far of a range to really be able to do anything here. Nightshade's going to keep that thing pressured and low, as the Bulu's going to keep trying to Synthesis his way out of this. Pain Split's going to be able to get a little bit more HP for that Dusclops. We're going to see the Haze on the Swords Dance turn. Very smart play by Gavino. And we're going to see the Synthesis here, and we're just going to see this constant War of Attrition eventually come to an end here. Hornleech is going to get a crit there, knock this thing down pretty low, but the Dusclops is going to have to finish off the Bulu. But this leaves the Dusclops at a decently low amount of HP. Latias is going to come in here, Mega Evolve, and go for the Calm Mind on the turn that he goes for a Nightshade, and Draco Meteor is going to knock out the Dusclops. That play in particular, I feel like a Psyshock was more than efficient enough to take out the Dusclops, and if he had done that and kept the +1, he could have continued to just set up more on this Chansey and been in a better position. But he's going to have to set up again here a little bit more. As we're going to see the Thunder Wave happen, we're going to see the Seismic Tosses here, some Roosts. It's going to be a constant Seismic Toss Roost battle. We're going to see the Psyshock at neutral does 22%. So he's going to have to set up some more if he wants to do some damage. We're going to see him get Seismic Toss pretty low there thanks to a full para. But we're going to see the Latias be able to get another Calm Mind up here, get that nice +1. And we're going to see the Seismic Toss keep him down low, roosting back up. And another Seismic Toss as the Latias is going to keep roosting. And we're going to see a Draco Meteor. That right there was the play that I think that sealed this matchup. If he had gone for Psyshock instead, he probably could have won this game. If he had gotten like one more Calm Mind up and just gone for Psyshocks to try to get damage off, he probably could have just won this game. Because note, that is a Draco Meteor at +1. A non-+1 Psyshock did 22%. So a +1 Draco barely did more than a neutral Psyshock to Chansey. That's just because its physical defense is so low. If he got into +2, he potentially could have been doing like 30 to 40% more like less per turn, forcing him to soft-boiled, forcing him to waste his soft-boileds, and potentially picking up the win here. But unfortunately, he does not do that. He goes for the Draco, puts himself in a bad position here, and he's going to have to try to set up Calm Minds again. Seismic Toss is going to come out here, and the full para comes, and that is sealing the deal. Latias is going to go down here, and that's going to be a 1-0 for Gavino. So definitely that misplay with the Draco was huge and completely cost him this game. He had this game kind of in the bag, like fighting against the hacks, obviously. But if he wasn't fully paired, I think he definitely had the win there for sure. There's no doubt in my mind about that. He definitely picked up the win in that game if he had gone for Psyshocks instead of the Draco near the end. But that is going to conclude that game, and Gavino is going to stay undefeated through Week 10. Nice 10-0 record. The last match to cover this week is going to be the North London Ledians. This is actually the Battle of the Alexes, I'm going to refer to it as. With the Time Galicipods and their Gallicipod, Shaman, Empoleon, Linoon, Togi Demaru, and Mega Scizor, taking on the North London Ledians with their Sharpedo, Araquanid, Snorlax, Alolan Golem, Druddigon, and Clefable. So let's see how this goes. We see Araquanid lead against Empoleon, as Araquanid is going to get Toxic as it sets up its Sticky Webs. Empoleon's then going to be able to defog these away as he capitalizes on that defog turn to get in his Alolan Golem and go for the Wild Charge and knock out the Empoleon immediately. So that's huge play. Shaman's going to come in here and scare him out as the Snorlax chews this Tectonic Rage, and now it's essentially GG. Snorlax is going to start setting up curses, and it's just going to be a matter of just not being able to do damage with Gallicipod enough. We're going to see the Figgy Berry get recycled as we see the Nuzzle and the full para, but Zingzap is going to try to get from flinches, but the Fire Punch is just going to knock out Togi D. And we're going to see the Belly Drum here to try and maybe pull off a reverse sweep and use this to break through. Extreme Speed is going to knock him down into range where he's going to eat his Figgy. He's going to get fully parried again. Facade is, however, going to be able to pick up the kill on that Lanoon. We're going to see this Mega Scizor go for Bug Bite here as the Snorlax is just going to keep recycling and getting that Figgy Berry back, and it's just kind of... Fire Punch is going to be able to knock out the Mega Scizor. We're going to see the Facade emergency exit that Gallicipod out of the match into the Shaman, who's going to get some damage off with that Giga Drain. We're going to see the Recycle, get the Figgy Berry. We see it eat a Fire Punch as it goes for a Giga Drain, then a crit Giga Drain as well. A crit at any point would have been great, but unfortunately he did not get that, and Facade's going to be able to pick up the kill on Gliscopod. That is a 6-0 win for the North London Ledians on the back of this disgusting Curselax. Absolutely broken, disgusting Pokemon. You should be ashamed of yourself. No, fantastic game. Really fantastic game. He played really, really well to get into the Snorlax and put in the work that he needed to do. Essentially, he looked like he needed to get rid of Empoleon in order to pick up that sweep, and he did, in fact, do that early on. So, very, very well played. And with that, that is the last game for the week, so let's go ahead and check out the kill leaders. Now that we've covered all the matches for this week, let's go ahead and hop into the kill leaders here. The first of our kill leaders is Metagross from the New York Dialog. It's currently sitting in first place, 15 kills, 3 deaths with a plus 12 differential. Following closely behind is Mega Charizard X from the Paniolo Primarinas, 13 kills, 1 death with a plus 12 differential as well. And then rounding out the top 3 is Mega Gyarados from the Jerusalem Jirachis, 15 kills, 4 deaths, sitting at plus 11. So looking at these top 3, all 3 physical monsters, physically offensive beasts that are absolutely terrifying to go up against in a matchup at any time. Definitely, any of these mons could take the top spot at any point this season, so it's going to be interesting to see how the rankings go from here. Definitely very, very close up here in the top 10 for sure. And you're going to see that as we go into the next grouping, where 4th place is currently the Chansey from the Jerusalem Jirachis, 11 kills, 0 deaths. That thing has not died, and I don't foresee it dying anytime soon. That thing is absolutely a monster and has been an absolute threat throughout the majority of the season. No one has been able to find an answer for it, and I can honestly understand why. This thing is absolutely insane, absolutely terrifying to face off against, and definitely going to be a massive threat throughout the rest of the season for sure. The next mon on the top 10 countdown is going to be the Salamence from the Phoenix Infernos, 17 kills, 7 deaths with a plus 10 differential. He's definitely been on and off, but he's been able to pick up a few decent cleanups, a few big sweeps with Salamence throughout the season that has allowed him to stay up here in the top 10, hopefully trying to crack his way back up into the number 1, 2, and 3 slots. Following closely behind, though, is the Weavile from the Paniolo Primarinas, 14 kills, 4 deaths, and a plus 10 differential. Then we have the Asia Pacific Piloswines bringing Scizor into the top 10. Regular Scizor with 14 kills, 5 deaths, and a plus 9 differential. The Johto Brave Knights are represented by Xurkitree with 13 kills and 4 deaths with a plus 9 differential. And then closing out the top 10 is a tie between Bisharp and Mamoswine from the North London Ledians and New York Dialogs respectively, both with 11 kills and 2 deaths with a plus 9 differential. Now mind you, the differentials for the top 10 range from plus 9 to plus 12. So 3 differential points are the difference between the number 1 and number 10 slot in the top 10. So that is absolutely crazy. So literally just one bad week for Amon, and it will drop down, and one good week for another one of these top 10 mons can knock it up into the top 3. So that is absolutely fantastic. Really, really great to see that mon. Really, really great to see what all these mons have been doing this season. It's been really, really cool to see what kind of crazy things have been coming out from these coaches. So hopefully these coaches will be able to keep their mons up in the top 10, but we'll see how it fluctuates from there. But with that, we are going to head over to the league document to go over the current standings for this season of the NPBF. So let's head on over. Alrighty, guys, these are the current standings for the NPBF. I'm going to go through them pretty quickly because you can read, obviously, but in the Kanto Conference, we have the Port Elizabeth Polytoads leading their pewter division, followed closely behind by the Cleveland Typhlosions, and then down in the bottom, we have the Peoria Phantoms, sitting at a 2-8 record. Port Elizabeth Polytoads are at 6-4, and the Typhlosions are at 5-5. They can switch positions pretty much any week. If one loses and the other one wins, they can basically switch positions at any time. So this division is definitely very, very close, at least to determine potential division leaders. In the Cerulean division, we have the New York Dialga sitting at a nice, comfortable 8-2, leading the division, followed not too far behind by Chris and the Phoenix Inferno with a 6-4 record, looking to hold on to that solid positive record so they can potentially scoop themselves up a playoff position. And then the London Ludicolo are following behind with a 2-8 record. Recently started to pick up their stride a little bit, which is really, really nice to see. So hopefully they will be able to continue the recent momentum, and they'll be able to pick up a couple more wins as the season closes out, which would be really, really cool. Then we jump over to the Cinnabar division, where myself and the Panula Primarinas are currently leading with a 9-1 record. That one is still bothering me today. Followed behind by the one who gave us that one, being the Birmingham Entes with their 5-5 record. Basically just trying to hold on to a potential wildcard position. We'll go over that shortly. And then the Carolina Persians recently taking over, I believe it was the Parma Poipoles. No, it wasn't the Parma Poipoles. They took over the... Who did you take over? Took over the Glaceons. Recently took over the Glaceons. They are currently sitting at a 2-8 record, trying to avoid that not-so-coveted last place spot overall in the league. Then the Viridian division, we have the Meowston Rockets. Even after their little hiatus from matches, they're currently sitting at a 6-4 record. Very, very solidly in the lead for their division, but the Orlando Magikarps are not too far behind, and a couple bad weeks for Helio and a couple good weeks for Jay, and that could completely switch this division up. So definitely not completely out of it just yet. The Orlando Magikarps are currently sitting at 3-7, while the Kokomo Kamo'os, coached by Blair, who just came into the league, took over for the Parma Poipoles, they are sitting at 2-8. But Blair has a lot of potential to do really, really well here. So I think he definitely will bounce back with this record for sure. Hopping over to the Johto Conference, we have the North London Ledians, who are on a 7-win streak, leading the Ekritique division with clear force. I don't see them slowing down anytime soon, and it looks like they're more than likely going to pretty much be guaranteed that division leader spot in playoffs. Following behind him is Alex and the Tide Gallipods with a 6-4 record. Basically just trying to keep their record as solid as they can to hold on to that potential wild card position. They're currently sitting at on a two-loss streak, so hopefully they'll be able to bounce back here coming into Week 11, so they don't have to worry about that anymore. And then the Johto Brave Knights, who took over for Nathaniel and the Predacons, is sitting at a 3-7 record. Again, another team trying to keep themselves above that potential last place spot, where currently there is a 5-way tie for last place, which is actually kind of crazy. That's a 5-way tie for that. That's kind of crazy. So huge competition down low to try to keep themselves out of that potential position. Hopefully they'll be able to bounce back as they are able to get used to this new team that they just recently took over. So following the Ecruteak division is the Cyanwood division, currently led by the Philadelphia Braviaries with a 5-5 record. They just came in and took over the Mono Water team, formerly coached by Chris and the Kalamazoo Kingdras. Again, tough team to pick up, but he chose it, and very, very interesting to see that. I'm sure he's a very, very skilled battler, and he should be able to bounce back and do fairly well over the course of these next several weeks. But this is easily the closest division, as both the Ohio Cast Forms, coached by Jesse, and the Driftveil Drillbers, coached by Corey, are both following close behind it with 4-6 records, basically making it so that they're more than likely to take over that division leader spot at any given time. So they're not really in position right now to scoop up a wild card slot. You'll see that later, but either one could scoop up the division leader spot in the playoffs at any time. So this is definitely a very, very interesting division to keep an eye on, because it can fluctuate at any moment. The next division to talk about is the Goldenrod division, led currently by the Memphis Bravebirds with a 7-3 record on a 7-win streak. Yeah, that's since he has not lost since week 3, which is absolutely insane. Really, really killing it. James made a bunch of trades with his team, and he's definitely been on an absolute roll. So hopefully he can keep up that momentum going into the rest of the season, that he can hold on to that divisional leader spot very, very well. So that's really, really awesome. Next up, we have the Asia Pacific Pilot Wine sitting at a 5-5 record. Recently taking over the team is, I believe this is Kieran. Yes, this is Kieran and the Pilot Swines. He recently took over this team, and he's been doing fairly well with it. He had a rough loss this week off the back of a reverse sweep from a Megalodios, but those Megalodies are a tough thing to take on, so definitely cannot fault him for that. I feel like we've all probably been swept by a Megalodi at some point in our lives, so... But hopefully he'll be able to bounce back and potentially build himself up to get a wild card spot in the playoffs as well. Then at the bottom of their division, we have the Washington Weavers, currently sitting at a 4-6 record, coached by Rich. Rich took a forfeit this week. Very unfortunate that happened. I guess just scheduling issues took place. Just really, really sucks, but what can you do? Hopefully that won't happen again, and he'll be able to bounce back after a little bit of an absence from the battles for a little while. So, the next and final division is the Blackthorn division, led strongly and dominantly by Gavino and the Jerusalem Jirachis with their 10-0 record. This man has not lost. He has the Chansey that cannot die. He is absolutely killing it out here, for sure. Do not see him slowing down anytime soon until potentially when we face off. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm going to give it my best shot. But he's got a fantastically solid team, and it's extremely threatening. So it's definitely going to be something to try and definitely it's going to be a struggle to beat his team for sure. It's definitely not going to be the easiest matchup, to say the very least. But he's got a really solid hold on that division. Following behind him is David and the Wellington Whirlwinds, who had a little bit of a rough start earlier in the season, but they're currently sitting at a 6-4 record, which is definitely not bad at all. Fantastic record for him, and he's currently sitting pretty for a potential playoff position if he keeps up the momentum that he's had. And then at the bottom of the division, we have the only 2-8 team in the Johto Conference, being the Atlanta Dragonites, who picked up a very big win this week on the back of their Megalodios, which is Latios or Latios? I can't remember which one he has. But really, really big win this week, and hopefully he'll be able to pick up and keep that momentum going over the course of the next several weeks. But with that, though, that's going to conclude our look at the standings, and let's hop into the wildcard race so you can understand what I'm talking about when it comes to divisional leaders and wildcard nonsense. Right here, we're going to take a very brief look at the wildcard race for each conference. So the way we do things is each of the top 4 slots are going to be owned by the division leaders. So, for example, myself at number 1 over here for the Kanto Conference, since I am 9-1, I have the best record out of all of the 4 division leaders, being the Dialgas, Politoads, and Rockets. But all of these get the top 4 slots, and then it's based upon record. The best 2 records outside of the division leaders will also make it in as well. So in this case, it is the Phoenix Inferno and the Birmingham Mentes. But the Birmingham Mentes are right by the cutoff line, and the Cleveland Typhlosions also have a 5-5 record. So a loss from the Entes and a win for Ethan and the Typhlosions completely switches their positions. And if the Inferno lose it all, or if they start losing it all, then there's a good chance that they could also be knocked out of contention as well. So the teams down here are definitely not safe by any stretch of the word. And it's going to be a very, very tough couple weeks for them for sure. But we hop over to the Johto Conference. The Jerusalem Jirachis, North London Ledians, Memphis Bravebirds, and Philadelphia Braviaries are your current division leaders. However, the Braviaries in their own division are followed closely behind by both the Ohio Castworms and the Driftveil Drillburs. So again, a loss for the Braviaries and a win for either of those teams can basically completely switch up the divisions and wildcard race as it currently sits, which is really, really interesting to see. The division is super duper close, but the Jirachis have a very firm hold on their division. It's going to be really, really tough to take that away from them, as well as the Ledians, who are just on an absolute tear. The Bravebirds have been solid as well. They started off really, really rough, 0-3, but he definitely has been on a massive winning streak as well. So it's going to be really, really hard to stop those 3 teams for sure, but the rest is really up in the air. We have the Taiga Lysipods and the Wellington Whirlwinds currently sitting in the wildcard spots for the conference. The Asia Pacific Piloswine sitting at a 5-5 record, waiting for one of them to potentially get knocked off so that they can hop into that playoff position. So very, very interesting to see where we're at this point. Now let's hop into the schedule and see what next week's matches can bring and how they can potentially affect this whole wildcard race right here. So now that the kill leaders have been covered, the schedule for next week and talk about some of the dope-ass matches we have coming up. We have the Orlando Magikarps taking on the Birmingham Entes. Definitely going to be a very, very solid matchup. Both teams are in a very, very solid hunt for the potential wildcard spots in our conference. So it's going to be very, very important for those matches to go through. Next up, we have the Kokomo Komo'os and the New York Dialgos. A very heated rivalry between 2 people who know each other very well. They've played each other plenty of times in the past outside of this league, so it should be very, very interesting to see how this matchup goes down. Then we have the Memphis Bravebirds and the Meowston Rockets, 2 division leaders within our conference. So it's definitely going to be a must-see match for sure, without a doubt. That's going to be a fantastic battle. Then we see the Phoenix Inferno and Wellington Whirlwinds, who are both battling to hold on to non-division leader playoff spots in the wild card race. So very, very nice to see. This is definitely going to be a fantastic matchup. They're actually about to battle right now as I am recording this, so it's going to be really, really dope. So that's going to be one heck of a match for sure. Then we have the undefeated Jerusalem Jirachis taking on the Asia Pacific Piloswines. Even though the Piloswines had a really tough loss this week, it was on the back of a reverse sweep. So I don't believe we've truly seen the skill that the Piloswines potentially could possess. So any week could be the week that the Jirachis get knocked off. That's always going to be an interesting matchup to see for sure. Then we have the Tide Glissopods taking on the Johto Brave Knights. The Brave Knights are still kind of getting used to their new squad, while the Glissopods are still trying to get themselves and keep themselves into the hunt for playoffs as well. So this matchup is always going to be certainly important. The Brave Knights could potentially start playing spoiler for the Glissopods and start knocking them out of potential playoff contention. So that's going to be very interesting. Then we have the Panyolo Primarinas taking on the Driftveil Drillburs. This is another interconference matchup, I believe. If I remember correctly, let me actually not be stupid. Hold up, let me not be stupid. Excuse the fact that I'm watching wrestling videos as well. Before I was recording this, excuse that entirely. But no, he is actually close to being a division leader in the opposing conference. So this is going to be a very, very important matchup for him, to say the very least. Definitely a very important matchup for sure, just due to the fact that a win for him at any point could propel him to be his division's leader. So very, very interesting to see that. The Carolina Persians taking on the Atlanta Dragonites. Both teams are not in fantastic positions heading towards playoffs, but nobody wants that not so coveted last place spot. So definitely going to be very, very important to see which one comes out on top there. Following it closely behind, in the next matchup, we have the North London Ledians taking on the Washington Weavers. The Weavers are coming off of a forfeit loss, unfortunately, so hopefully they will be able to get their battle in this week, and they won't have to give up another forfeit. But it's going to be one tough matchup, to say the very least, as the North London Ledians have been an absolute tear. They are currently on a 7-game winning streak, which is absolutely insane. So very, very solid play by him almost every single week. So hopefully that will continue, and him and the Weavers can put on a fantastic matchup. Then we have the Port Elizabeth Politoads and the Philadelphia Braviaries taking each other on. Division leaders from opposing conferences. The Braviaries are coming off of a loss this week as they just took over this Mono Water team. However, I personally believe he's got a lot of skill, and it was definitely a very tough battle, so he definitely can put in a lot of work. So John is definitely not going to come into this and get himself an easy victory for sure. Definitely going to be in a very, very tough matchup, to say the least. But it's going to be a very, very interesting one as well. Then we have the Peoria Phantoms taking on the London Ludicolo. Another case of two guys struggling on their luck, but the Ludicolo seem to be getting their stride. So it definitely could be a very interesting and very, very solid matchup, to say the very least. Both teams, again, fighting to not get that dreaded last place spot in the standings, so we'll see how that goes for them. Then we have the Cleveland Typhlosions taking on the Ohio Castworms. The Typhlosions are one win away from potentially being a division leader, so they're just getting their stride back after a rough losing streak. So hopefully they will be able to continue that momentum and into potential playoff run. But the Ohio Castworms are in the same position as the Drillburs, where they are basically one win away as well from potentially being a division leader. So this is going to be an absolutely important matchup for both teams. Neither can really afford a loss, or else they're basically costing themselves their playoff hopes and dreams. But that is going to be it for this portion of the recap, and that is going to be it overall for the recap. Now that I think about it, this is the last section I'm putting into the recap. I'm recording them out of order because things happen, but these matchups are very, very interesting. This is going to be a very, very solid week of action, and I'm really, really looking forward to it, and I hope you guys are too. Thank you all for watching. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you have not already. And until next time, I am PokePrimer, signing off. Peace.